Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you have some understanding of what iOS 14 has done to Facebook ads. But if you're not 100% familiar with the topic, two things that you need to know is number one, tracking conversions from iOS devices has become very difficult. And number two, overall performance of Facebook ads has decreased across the board. I did an analysis and I took a look at Facebook advertising clients and I took a look at their spend and also their cost per acquisition, right? So how much it would cost for a user to take an action, whether that was a purchase on a website, mainly a purchase on a website. And if you notice, starting on the left-hand side, that CPA was pretty low in March. In April, that's when Apple introduced the ATT prompt, and it started at the end of the month. So we see a pickup in the cost per CPA, the cost per action jump in May. Now in May, I did see the advertisers that I was looking at spend more money. So we typically tend to see an inverse relationship. As you scale, conversion rates tend to go down, so CPA tends to get a little bit more expensive. But now if we look in June and July, where things are relatively stable compared to March and April, the CPA is still higher. In fact, on average, I'm seeing on my end that CPAs are 2x more expensive, which is crazy. Now, it doesn't mean that those conversions aren't happening. What that does mean is that Facebook now has an inability to see those conversions happening because of people opting out from being tracked. There's not perfect science to this. I did some research and I said, all right, how many iOS devices are in the US, specifically iPhone devices? And then I said, all right, well, how many, before Apple rolled out their iOS 14 update, how many people were opting in, just sharing their data with the Apple identifier? And it was about an 80% opt-in rate. So there was about 72 million iPhone devices in the United States. Now, according to Apps Flyer, their latest data, which they've done a really great job of tracking this, we've seen about a 38% opt-in rate as I make this video. I'm making this video in December 2021, not November, as you see down there. Oops. So that's about 34 million iPhone devices in the US. So if you think about that, that's a 53% reduction, millions and millions and millions of data points that we're getting limited data from. So that kind of tracks with that 2x increase in cost per acquisition because there's a 53% reduction in our ability to effectively track these conversions. A good question to have is, what is Facebook doing about this? Well, their business relies on advertising. Like 95 or 99% of the revenue comes from advertising. So they have a stake to make Facebook ads and Instagram ads and WhatsApp ads and Messenger ads work. Like they have a real big stake here. So the number one thing, which you probably already know, they introduced the AEM protocol. So that enables us to do a lot more with the data than maybe Apple would like advertisers or Facebook to do. So we're able to see that 7-day click attribution and then 1-day view. Another thing is that they've made big investments to change their product roadmap and now focus on products that are signal resilient. That's what they call. A simple way to understand this is ad formats that can capture data within the platform. So as an example, if you've ever done a retargeting with a video views campaign, video views is an action that Facebook can capture and Instagram within the platform. Therefore, you can then create retargeting audiences based on that activity. In the same way, if someone opens up a lead form, you can retarget based on someone who's engaged with a lead form because that action lives within the platform. So Facebook shops, Instagram shops, those are two examples of products that they're really investing in so they can get advertisers creating shops on the platforms and getting those signals within the platform without people needing to leave. So that's one big thing that they have focused on. The other thing is modeled conversions. Now they're using their massive data set to then model out conversions in the situations that people have opted out of their iOS devices. The thing there is that they haven't told us how they're modeling this information. So me as an advertiser, as a partner to the platform, I have no clue how they're coming up with these modeled conversions. And if you're running ads on Facebook, you're going to start to see modeled conversions, and it's probably going to be very distinct to data that you look at on Google Analytics as an example. So they're doing things about this. It's just a work in progress. Now, a few action items. Hopefully you've done some of these already. Verified your domain, prioritized your events. That's like table stakes at this point. But a few other things you could do is refresh your audiences more recurringly. So if you're creating retargeting audiences or building lookalike audiences, try to refresh that data as frequent as possible, at least at a minimum once a quarter. You'd be surprised. I've seen some ad accounts where they haven't refreshed this data for a year and a half. It's pretty crazy, but that's something simple that you can do. Also, consolidate audiences, especially audiences that have overlap. If you have a lookalike 1% audience and then you have a lookalike 3% audience, and you're not excluding the 1% from the 3%, that's like a simple thing you can do, but you'd be surprised at how many advertisers just have multiple audiences that are talking to the same people. One best practice is, if you are running interests and lookalikes, exclude your lookalikes from your interest campaigns. Do not exclude your interests from your lookalike campaigns. So don't get that flip-flopped. The other thing is, make sure to take advantage of in-platform retargeting. So we talked about Facebook shops and Instagram shops. You can actually, if you do have one of those shops, you can actually build retargeting audiences from people who engage with the shop, looked at products, added products, purchased products. So make sure to take a look at the retargeting capabilities under audiences. Also, there's other types of engagement signals you can use. You can do ad engagers, profile or page engagers. You could do video engagers. So make sure that you're tapping into those as well. The intent levels of those are going to vary, but it at least gives you the ability to talk to those iOS users who have opted out. The last one you've also hopefully have heard, which is called Conversions API, which is not going to fix the iOS issue, but it's going to help you capture some conversion signals from people who are using ad blockers that are maybe clearing their cookies, or maybe using platforms such as like Safari that aren't collecting cookies, because it's going to send the conversion data directly to Facebook as opposed to sending it to the web browser and depending on pixel technology. So there are some things you can start doing now, but this is going to be a challenge that we're going to have to figure out as an industry. Hopefully Facebook will figure this out for us, and Snapchat and all these other platforms will follow suit. But something that is very challenging to performance marketers right now, and we're just going to have to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, because things are going to be rocky for a little bit. Until the next video, peace.